I'm Blane Chambers, and I'm the shaper and owner of Paddle Surf Hawaii, and I build stand-up paddle surfboards and stand-up paddle racing boards. Before doing stand-up paddle surfing and doing surfboards, I used to be a carpenter, and then I worked for a lumber company. From there, I used to do a lot of surfing and grew up surfing, body surfing here in Hawaii, and rode a lot of dirt bikes and some, I was into real extreme trail riding and riding motorcycles and stuff like that. But, I learned how to shape a surfboard back in 2005, so I'm really late coming into the scene of actually shaping boards. And I fell in love with stand-up paddle surfing around the same time in early 2005, and that was like the beginning of this, this whole obsession. Is that I just really liked doing it, and it was really hard to get a stand-up paddle surfboard at the time. So I just started making my own, and one thing led to another, and next thing you know, it's Paddle Surf Hawaii, and it's just crazy. Crazy how everything just kind of evolved into what it is today. Well, the first board I shaped at all was a longboard in the middle of 2005, and I was already doing stand-up on the Munoz, and I didn't make a stand-up paddle board. That wasn't my first board. It was just, I wanted to make a regular surfing board. So I just did the whole thing. I went online, how to shape a surfboard. And I never stayed in a room with a shaper from beginning to end and never watched the steps or anything like that. So Clark Foam used to be down the street right over here, and they had all the blanks. So I just bought a blank, got a block of wood with sandpaper, and went into my shed and proceeded to cover everything in dust, and just took 3 days to shape out a longboard. It's a 9-1, and my daughter Krista, she painted it. So she made a lot of the pictures, and it's really cool. This is the beginning of the whole obsession to go shaping something. And it's, I got the date on the very tail. First board I ever shaped was 7/15/05. And the funny thing is, that first board, it worked. I paddled it and surfed it, and I was completely blown away that I could surf it. And I was going, hey, I actually can surf this thing. I thought it would be just a novelty thing. And at that point, I just got obsessed with building boards. I wanted to learn how to glass them myself and do all that. And then I built this room. This is just converting my old garage. I just enclosed this that next day. As soon as I wrote it in, I was going, I need to make boards. This is something I'm gonna do, not for business or anything, just for myself, that I'm no longer gonna buy a board. I can make my own and glass my own and do all that, and that's how it started. The first time I ever saw someone stand-up paddle surfing was in Waikiki, and it was years ago. I don't even remember when. It was just a guy standing on a surfboard paddling out in the distance, and I remember it stood out to me. I thought he was on a boat, and then I was going, he's on a board, he's not in a canoe. And in fact, back then, I think the first thing I thought of was, I wonder if you could fish like that. That's the only, I never thought of surfing. I never thought, the guy wasn't surfing, he was just paddling around. And thinking back on it now, he was probably, doing that thing where he's taking pictures of tourists. But the first thought I think I ever had of that was, wow, that would be a way that I could go whip for papio on the North Shore when it's flat in the summer. And then I didn't really think about it after that, because we used to fish a lot off our surfboards, and I was thinking, wow, that'd be cool if you could stand and whip for the fish, and see and cast farther and all that. So that was, gosh, I don't even know what year, but I was probably, it had to be at least 15 years ago or something like that. I never even, it never dawned on me for any kind of recreational activity at all. And then years later, I got into paddling one-man canoes, and then I remember seeing a picture of Laird on a big white board dropping in, and I believe it was Porto Escondido or something, and he was on a smoking wave ready to pull in the barrel. He was on a real wave, and all I thought was, wow, that now you're talking. That I see that makes sense to me. And from that point on, I was looking for a way to get a board. I wasn't planning on shaping one. I was already, thinking just, I need to get on something like that I can ride, and then the whole fishing thing came back in my mind. But that picture was when I thought, you know, this is something legitimate. This guy's gonna get barreled. And to me, if you're pulling in on any board, that's for real, you know. I mean, that's the whole thing, right? In surfing is you got to get barreled. If you're not getting barreled, I mean, you know, that's just was my take at the time.